do people? How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Talking Paranormal with the Old Man. And as always, I am the old man. Wasn't here yesterday, Super Bowl, had to get my hair cut and all that fun stuff, and just ran out of time. So I'm here today. Hopefully, I messed around last week after the podcast, and I think I figured out how to do an intro and an outro to my podcast. So I'll have the same music that if we were live, the same intro and the exit music. However, of course, I thought I saved it in Chrome as a bookmark. So I'm trying to do it today. And of course, I couldn't find the goddamn bookmark. So I had to learn it again here, and I think I got it. I'm going to be really pissed if I do this whole podcast and I can't do it. But I'm going to save it first. You always save stuff first just to make sure. So I'm going to save it first and then try to put the intro and the exit music in there. I know that there's the thing you go in tracks and you view, and you go into view and you shrink to width, I think it was. But now it doesn't freaking work. So I don't freaking know. Anyways, it's getting warmer here. It was kind of cold yesterday, but it's supposed to be in the 30s this week, maybe even 40 on Wednesday. Ooh, heat wave. So I hope you all enjoy the Super Bowl. My team wasn't in it. Of course, I don't really have a team. I'm a Lions fan, have been for years. Hopefully, either the Seahawks or the Patriots. Hopefully, whoever team you hope to win, they did. So good luck with that. Hope you got a lot of money. Hope you didn't lose a lot of money if you're that type of people that bet. So with that being said, today I'm going to talk about our visit to the Lizzie Borden's house. Yeah, we all know, the legend, Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. I think I got that right. I'm doing that by memory. And as you get older, your memory seems to fade away. So, but I think I got it right. The Lizzie Borden's house. It was made famous by Elizabeth Montgomery of Bewitched fame. She's also in Twilight Zone, and I'm sure a lot of other movies. But the story goes is, okay, I might have to look this part up here because I don't really know for sure. So just give me a second here. Lizzie Borden. I don't care about the movie. Here we go. Okay. So I know. Okay, this is Wikipedia. Oh, that was my headphone. That was not me farting. That was my headphone wire up against the microphone thing here. I did not fart. Trust me. Okay, so she passed in 1927 is when she passed. Let's see. So supposedly. Thursday, August 4th, 1892, is when Andrew and Abby Borden were killed. Now, you may or may not know this, but Abby was not her real mother. She was her stepmother. And from my understanding, I'm going by memory here because I really don't know too much of the details. I know that he was a local businessman, and I believe he was farm equipment. I do believe. I do believe. So he would have had enemies if he so wanted. Now here's the thing here, so that at the time of the murder, his estate was valued at $300,000. And that was in what year was it? 18. I just said it too. See, I'm talking about memory. 1892 August. So in that year, his estate was worth 300,000, which is the equivalent in 2024 of 10.5 million. So it's possible that could have been a motive. Now, from what I understand, they have suspects, but they don't know for sure who it is or who it was. Now, like I said, Abby was not Lizzie's mom. So Andrew Borden married Abby Durfee Gray 3 years after the death of Lizzie's mother. Lizzie later stated that she called her stepmother Mrs. Borden and, oh my God, what's that word? Demurred on whether they had a cordial relationship. She believed that Abby had married her father for his wealth. Yeah, you think? $10.5 million? Yeah, I think so too. Okay, Bridget Sullivan was the Borden's 25-year-old live-in maid. Now her room was up in the attic, from what I understand, and she had immigrated from Ireland, and she testified that Lizzie and Emma rarely ate meals with their parents. Now I'm assuming Emma was Lizzie's sister, I do believe. And so in May of 1892, Andrew killed multiple pigeons in the barn with a hatchet, believing they carried infections and disease. Lizzie had recently built a roost for the pigeons, and it had been commonly recounted that she was upset over his killing them. So that, that could be a motive. That could be a motive that she was pissed because her daddy killed her pigeons. Possibility. Possibility. And it says a family argument in July of 1892 prompted both sisters to take extended vacations in Bedford. They returned to Fall River a week before the murders, and Lizzie chose to stay in a local rooming house for 4 days before returning to the Borden residence. Now, see, the whole thing is, and I guess I should have said this. The house is in Fall River, Massachusetts. We So New Bedford, from my understanding, is not really a destination for vacations. From my understanding, I don't know for a fact. So so here's some more. Is tension. You know what? Here, let me get my old man glasses because I'm having a hard time seeing this screen. Hey, there you go. Tensions had been growing within the Borden family in the months before the murders, especially over Andrew's gifts of real estate to various branches of Abby's family. Ooh, the in-laws. In-laws. Their stepmother's sister received a house. Oh, shit. So Lizzie and Emma demanded a rental property, the house which they had lived in until their mother died. They purchased it from their father for $1. That's a freaking bargain. But here's the thing is if their mom died in the house, she could still be in there as a ghost. Interesting. And a few weeks before the murders, they sold the property back to their father for $4,000, the equivalent of $175,000 in 2024. Holy shit! They bought it for $1 and then made a $4,999 profit. If a few weeks before the murders. Wow. John Viscombe Morris, Lizzie and Emma's maternal uncle, visited the Bortons' home the night before the murders, and Andrew invited him to stay for a few days to discuss business matters. This has led to speculations that their conversation may have aggravated an already tense situation, particularly about property transfer. The entire household had been violently ill for several days. See, from the pigeons, from the freaking pigeons, he was right. A family friend later speculated that it was caused by mutton that had been left on the stove to use in meals over several days. What the hell is mutton? Abby feared poison, given that Andrew had not been a popular man in Fall River. Okay, I gotta see what mutton is. Oh shit! Ugh. I wouldn't be eating that crap. Holy crap! Okay, so that takes us back to Thursday, August 4th, 1892. So this is from Wikipedia. Could give you a little history about the house, and then I'll talk about our visit and if we encountered anything. So Morris arrived in the evening of August 3rd and slept in the guest room that night. Andrew, Abby, Morse, and Sullivan were present at breakfast the next morning, after which Andrew and Morse went to the sitting room where they chatted for nearly an hour. Ew. Morse left around 8:48 in the morning to buy a pair of oxen and visit his niece in Fall River, planning to return to the Borden home for lunch at noon. Andrew left for his morning walk sometimes after 9 a.m. Okay, let's see. This is I don't care about that. So Andrew returned home at 10:30 in the morning. His key failed to open the door, so he knocked. As me again hitting the microphone. Lizzie laughing immediately after the. Oh no, I'm sorry. She testified. Wait. Oh, okay. So Sullivan went to unlock the door, and Sullivan is the live-in maid, but found it jammed. She uttered a curse. She testified that she had heard Lizzie laughing immediately after this. She did not see Lizzie, but stated that the laughter was coming from the top of the stairs. So as you come into the house, the front door, immediately to your left is a dining room. Immediately to your right is, and in front of you is the living room, sitting room. If I remember, again, old age, but as soon as you walked in the front door, to your right was the stairs that went up. So I remember there's like 3 or 4 stairs. You turn to the left, and then you go upstairs. And if I remember correctly, I think the end and to the left of the sitting living room was the kitchen. And that also gave you access to the basement, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time. Okay, so where was I at? Okay, so then Lizzie later. Wait a minute. Wait. So let's go back a little bit. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out where I left off here. Okay, so this was considered significant as far as the maid seeing her at the top of the stairs. This was significant as Abby was already dead by the time. Oh shit! She was killed upstairs in the upstairs, her and Andrew's upstairs bedroom. So that's interesting because if she was already at the top of the stairs, Abby was already dead. Oh man. Okay. And it said that it was considered significant as Abby was already dead by that time, and her body would have been visible to anyone on the second floor. Lizzie later denied being upstairs and testified that her father had asked her where Abby was, to which she replied that a messenger had delivered Abby a summons to visit a sick friend. Okay, so Sullivan stated that she then removed Andrew's books and helped him. Removed Andrew's books. Oh, boots. I'm sorry. I can't read words yet. Andrew's boots and helped him into his slippers before laying down on the side for a nap. On the sofa for a nap. A detail contradicted by the crime scene photos, which shows Andrew was wearing boots. Oh, the plot thickens. I did not know this. She testified that she was in her third floor room, which was in the attic, resting from cleaning windows just before 11:10 in the morning when she heard Lizzie cough from downstairs. "Maggie, come quick! Father's dead! Somebody came in and killed him." So that was Lizzie. Maybe she's trying to cover up her crime. Interesting. Andrew was slumped on a couch in the downstairs sitting room, struck 10 or 11 times. See, that's BS. Because the song goes 41 times. So someone's lying here. One of his eyes had been split nearly in two, suggesting he had been asleep when attacked. If his eyes was split cleanly in two, why would that suggest that he had been asleep? Okay. His still bleeding wounds suggested a very recent attack. Family physician Dr. Bowen arrived from his home across the street and pronounced both victims dead. Well, no shit. Detectives estimated Andrew's death had occurred at approximately 11:10. Now let's go up here really fast to where it said something about Abby. Okay, so one of Lizzie and Emma's regular chores was to clean the guest room. But this morning, Abby went upstairs sometimes between 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. to make the bed. According to the forensic investigation, Abby was laying or was facing her killer at the time of the attack. She was struck first on the side of the head with a hatchet, which cut her just above the ear, causing her to turn and fall face down on the floor, creating contusions on her nose and forehead. The killer then struck her multiple times, well, supposedly 40, delivering 17 more hits to the back of her head and killing her. You think? You think after 17 or more with a hatchet in the back of the head that she might be dead? Possibility. Very good possibility. Okay, so I guess from my understanding was, I guess it was in the guest room, I guess, not their bedroom that Abby was found. But anyways, yeah, if you look on Wikipedia, it shows the crime scene of Andrew's body and Abby's body upstairs. Andrew again was in the sitting living room on a couch, and Abby was upstairs between the bed and the dresser. Supposedly that's where she was at. Actually, she was. I did see it. So yeah, so that is the story of Lizzie Borden's house. Yeah. So how we ended up getting there was because we were on our East Coast trip, and we went to Salem, Massachusetts, which was cool, by the way. This was in I want to say June, July maybe, a few years back, and we went from Salem to Boston, and then Boston to Martha's Vineyard. The wife wanted to see Martha's Vineyard, so it's okay. And then we came back onto the mainland, and at that time we were heading home. But as the wife said, she goes, what she wanted to stop at Lizzie Borden's house, and I wanted to stop in Jersey and Pennsylvania border, I believe it was, to see some battleships, and the sub is called Battleship Cove. It has the USS New Jersey, where if you're from New Jersey is moored there permanently as a museum. So I wanted to go there, and even though this was, paranormal, Lizzie Borden's house, the wife talked me into it. Basically, she says, when are we going to have the chance again? And we haven't been back east other than New York since then. So yeah, okay. So I guess let me get back to the thing though. She was acquitted. The trial, she was acquitted. The trial occurred. I'm sorry. Lizzie Borden's trial took place in New Bedford starting on June 5th, 1893. Prosecuting attorneys don't really care because they're all bald-licking bastards. So here's something that's cool. Is each victim's heads had been removed during autopsy, and the skulls were admitted as evidence during the trial and presented on June 5th. Upon seeing them in the courtroom, Lizzie fainted. Yeah, I think she was overreacting, but whatever. So yeah, she was acquitted, and basically the theories are, there's a whole bunch of theories here, okay? The theories are that Lizzie Borden did it. She was acquitted. John Morse did it. William Borden, so remember, John Morse was the uncle who came to visit. William Borden was a man who suspected to be Andrew's illegitimate son. Ew, the plot thickens. Was noted as a possible suspect by author Arnold Brown. Yeah, gotta get a writer in there making some money from a tragedy, who surmised that William had tried and failed to extort money from the alleged father. Ooh. Then author Leonard Rubelio, after extensive research on William, proved he was not Andrew's son. It would have been a lot better, interesting story if he was Andrew's son. So yeah, later in life and death followed the removal of, I guess she had gallbladder issues, I guess. Lizzie was in the last year of her life. At age 66, she died of pneumonia on June 1st, 1927. In Fall River, funeral details were not published and few attended. Well, yeah, no shit. So, Yes, and I was correct. I was correct. Oh, oh, oh. And here's an interesting one. Okay, here is the folk rhyme. Okay, and I said this earlier. Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. So my memory did hold out. Yay, buddy. But, but, it says, folklore says that the rhyme was made up by an anonymous writer as a tune to sell newspapers. Well, no shit. Others attribute it to the what the hell, I can't even say that word, but anonymous Mother Goose. In reality, Lizzie's stepmother suffered 18 or 19 blows and her father suffered 11. So as we know, the rhyme was not true. However, the rhyme has a less well-known second verse. I did not know this one. Are you guys ready for this? Andrew Borden now is dead. Lizzie hit him on the head. But up in heaven he will sing. On the gallows she will swing. Ooh, that's kind of like, not cool. That's kind of like, well, yeah, I have to admit that is kind of cool. I had not heard that one before. That is very interesting. Okay, so to get back to us visiting, we were there early afternoon. Well, we had come from Martha's Vineyard, took the ferry back to the mainland. That was in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. Then we drove up to hit the turnpike to head west through Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all those places. So we stopped at the Lizzie Borden's house, which is now a bread and breakfast. But now I found out that there's a company, I think it's called American Ghost Adventures, something like that, which is not affiliated, as far as I know, with Ghost Adventures with Zach Bagans. Yeah, whatever, who cares? And from my understanding, is that they have purchased, I know they have purchased the Axe Murder House in Villisca, which we've also been to. They've also purchased other haunted locations, and they didn't do it out of the kindness of their heart for preservation or anything like that. They bought it so they can sell investigation tickets to investigate them on yourself. So it's a pretty good freaking racket, if you want my opinion. You purchase a house, you can charge $1,000, $1,200 for an investigation each night. Like, I know when we went to the Axe Murder House in Villisca, this was when Darwin Lynn, rest in peace, still owned it, and we looked at the calendar and we got ours booked. I don't remember how much it was, dude. I think it was like, oh, I don't even know. I would guess, if I remember. I don't remember, so I'm guessing. I would say it was probably maybe $1,000, maybe. Yeah, I think it was $1,000 to rent it out for a private investigation. And we looked on that calendar, and almost every day was booked. So he was making, let's say for every day was booked, and he had thousand bucks ahead or investigation. That's $30,000 in 1 month that he made off of this. So it's a racket, okay? It's a racket that I wish I was part of, to be honest with you, but it is a racket, okay? You can make some buku. Well, the Warren's house, they're charging up to $2,000 for a private investigation at the Ed and Lorraine Warren's house. So there's money to be made. If you can get into the right property, there is money to be made. So yeah, so anyway, let's get past that part. So we went there, and we were actually the only ones there. Believe it or not, we were the only ones there. So it was us four and our tour guide. And there is a building out back, and I want to say it was used as either when the house was, well, when the Bordens lived there. It was either like a garage or a workshop or something like that. I don't remember what she said it was used for, but they turned it into a gift shop. And this is what I dislike about this crap is the ghost hunters were there and did an episode, and they were back in their quote air I'm sorry air quotes storefront property that that the freaking Travel Channel paid for, or Discovery Channel, whatever hell channel it was, paid for it. Yeah, yeah, seriously. So they're back in their, street front office going over the evidence. And Brian Gonzalez is one of the, no, I'm sorry, Steve Gonzalez, who is one of the later investigators. They're saying, oh yeah, it must be a gift shop. They have a gift shop, so it must be haunted. Screw you, dude. He's also one of the ones they were driving to an investigation, and they're in the TAPS van, and they had a new person there. He's like, oh yeah, we have talking about equipment, whatever, and Steve Gonzalez goes, oh yeah, we are better equipped than a lot of the ghost hunters are. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. You have a TV company purchasing this stuff for you. Of course, it's going to be freaking have the equipment. And case in point, you can say, dude, you're talking out your butt. No, I'm not. Because, and I think I told this story, but I will retell it because it fits in here perfectly. We were at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio, doing an investigation. And Frank, who was on the board of directors, he was telling us that the ghost hunters team was there 2 or 3, 4 months before we were there, and he was saying that they pulled up in their vans, and all this stuff, and they came in, and well, at one point they were in the East Cell block and they were in solitary confinement, which if you have not ever been, I guess I'll go that angle, to the solitary confinement at the Ohio State Reformatory in the East Cell block. Basically, you open the door and it's basically a U shape. It goes around, and there's like, I think, 3 levels of solitary confinement cells. So basically, you just go around a horseshoe and come back out the other end, but where you just came in at. So he was saying that he asked one of those guys if he could use their thermal imaging camera. He just wanted to walk around, and they go, oh well, it isn't ours. It's owned by the production company. Oh no shit! That's what I just said. It's easy to have the equipment if you have someone buying the equipment for you. So that's my argument for that. Whatever. So we get there. And we didn't buy them, but they did have at the gift shop at the Lizzie Borden's bed and breakfast. they did have cute little earrings that were in the shape of hatchets. We didn't get them, but I thought it was. Some people can see it as being tasteless, but I thought it was kind of cool myself. But that's just me. So we went into the house. We had a tour guide. And we went from room to room to room, and the first room that we went to was the dining room as you come into the house. So we were in there, and then she tells us a little bit about this the story, that they ate their meals here, blah blah blah. But what I thought was interesting was in a cabinet in the corner was not the original, but remember they took the heads off as evidence. Well, they made casts of them, plaster casts, and they had the plastic cast of the heads in this freaking cabinet in the freaking dining room. And it's like, I thought that was kind of tacky, but I can see they're trying to make a point that this is how much damage was inflicted to these people's skulls, but I thought it was kind of interesting, like, holy shit. So then we came out of there, went into the living room, and we were there, and they have, if you see the famous picture, and I'm bringing it up right now on Wikipedia, there it is, and it shows Andrew Borden with his head split open, basically, sitting on this couch, and they had the couch positioned where it was at. But here's a probably a lesser known fact about this: none of the furniture in the house is original. So the couch, and I took pictures of it. If I can find them, I will put them up on our Facebook page because I have no idea where the hell they're at. I have an idea, but not entirely where they're at. I have like three different external drives that I have stuff on, so I had to find them. Actually, they might be on Google Pictures. Anyways, that's not the original couch. I thought it was. I'm like, ooh, this is some weird shit. No, it's not the original. All the original furniture, from what the tour guide told us, was kept in a warehouse somewhere. I think she said in Boston. I could be mistaken, but all of the original furnishings from the house was kept in a warehouse. And I guess I wasn't here. I am an old man, but I wasn't here. There was a hurricane in 1927, and supposedly all the original furniture was destroyed by that hurricane in 27. Again, like I said, I'm old, but I'm not that old. I wasn't here. I don't know. So that kind of was like put the air out of my tire, because I'm like, oh, this is like the original couch, the original. Oh, this is original. It wasn't. It's period times, but it's not their actual furniture. So that was kind of a bummer. So then we went upstairs, and I was really not looking forward to, but I was excited, I guess, about going to the maid's bedroom up in the attic. And her name was Miss Sullivan, I believe her name was. I'm going to check up real fast. Miss Sullivan, I believe it was. I don't think they gave her first name, or was it Maggie? Was it Maggie? No, it could be Maggie. I'm trying to look here, and they're not in any particular order. Let's see, Sarah Morris. God, I can't. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's over here. Anyways, I know her name was Sullivan. And I want to say that it was Maggie Sullivan. Anyways, I'm rambling on here to try to get to get this right. But yeah, anyways, so her bedroom was upstairs. Now, she had been possibly implicated as maybe being part of it, or cover up, or whatever the case might be. So I was kind of, looking forward to getting to her room. But the tour guide told us that there was some water damage from the air conditioning on the roof, and we would not be able to go into the maid's bedroom, which kind of deflated the whole mood of that day a bit. But she said, since we can't go to the maid's bedroom, we will take you down to the basement, which is not usually open to the public. Bonus! So we got to go down to the basement, which, like I said, she said was not open to the general public at all. So that was cool by itself. So I'm like, okay, cool. Can't go up to the maid's bedroom, but we can go to the basement. But we did go to the rooms upstairs, and I did take a picture in the room where Abby was found dead. And again, if I can find them here, I will post them, because I don't know, like I said, where the hell they're at. I have an idea. I do, as you all know, I do presentations in October, and I might have included that on one of the presentations. So if I did, then they'll be easily found. So I will look for them after. So we did go into the upstairs bedrooms. There was, I think it's like 2 or 3 upstairs bedrooms, and then the third floor is the maid's living bedroom. So then we came back down the stairs onto the first floor, through the kitchen, and I think I took pictures of the kitchen too, into the basement. Not anything special or spectacular, just a freaking basement. Yeah, it's just a basement, and It was cool though. I mean, as you know, a basement of a house that murders took place in. And we were over in one part, it would have been like directly under the living room couch back in the day. And she said, if you look up, you'll see some stains. And that is, I believe she said it was Andrew Borden's. They thought it was Andrew Borden's blood that had dripped off his face and into the wood. So she said that there was a TV show that was there a couple of weeks before we were there, and they were taking blood samples or taking samples of the suspected blood to see if it was in fact one blood, and two if it was Andrew's blood. And like I said, that we had left, and I don't know what the outcome of that was. I don't remember seeing any TV show about that. So that was interesting that we saw where they took suspected blood off of the floor in the basement. So then we left. We thanked them. We were free to go outside around the house and into the gift shop and stuff. Like I said, we didn't purchase anything actually, but we did when we were in Boston. No. I'm sorry. It was in Salem. And funny thing is there was a really old graveyard in Salem, and really old. Like it's one of the oldest in the East Coast, I think it was. There was graves there from like the 1700s. And our son had at the time, bless his heart, he had a unnatural fear of storms. So maybe in a past life he got killed by lightning. Who knows? Well, we were in this graveyard, and you could hear thunder coming towards us, and he got all freaked out, like we have to leave. So we turned the corner, and by that time it was just starting to pour rain. We went into a small bookstore, and they they had books outside on like like in the little library, how they'll have these carts that they put books on, and then they'll wheel them through the library, putting them back on the shelves. Well, there was like two of them out in front of the store, and the books were getting drenched, and we told the worker, like, it's pouring rain, you might want to remove your books. She goes, oh crap. She runs out there and moves them inside, but they were already wet. So I felt guilty about that. So I bought a Lizzie Borden book, which, like I said, spur of the moment, I felt bad for her, spur of the moment purchase. So I did purchase a Lizzie Borden's book, but not from the Lizzie Borden's Bread and Breakfast, but from a bookstore in Salem, Massachusetts. So that is my story for today of the Lizzie Borden's house. Not too much that I could really add because we didn't really investigate it. It was more just we visited, took the tour and stuff like that. But I guess from my understanding, you can book ghost tours now because, like I said, in the aforementioned American Ghost Adventures, I think it was, has purchased Lizzie Borden's house. So I do not know if it's still a bread and breakfast, but I do know that you can purchase overnight investigations there in the house. Maybe one day if we ever go east and go to the Edna Rand's house investigation, if we ever do that, we'll come back down and do investigation there too. What the hell, right? So that's about it for today, peeps. Hopefully, if I can edit this correctly, I'll laugh at myself for that. I will upload this with the intro music and the exit music. So we'll see. I don't know if I can figure out how to freaking do this. So anyways, thanks for listening. And I think we are still going to Tombstone, Arizona here this week. So I plan on going live at least one day on my podcast. And hopefully that will work out too. So, and then hopefully have a lot of evidence. We can talk about that this upcoming weekend. Hopefully, if we experience anything, hopefully we are going to the Birdcage Theater. So hopefully, taking our new thermal imaging camera that we purchased for Randolph County. Let's see how I led into that. We are still on July 18th, a Saturday. We're doing a private investigation at the Randolph County Asylum. and you're more than welcome to join us. We have openings for I think 3 more people if you're interested. Winchester, Indiana, 4 hours from Lansing. So we have a whole tribe going. We got some new equipment that we're going to be using. So again, as usual, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for helping my podcast grow. I appreciate it. Again, you have to be more afraid of the living. And if I do this correctly, you will hear music right about now. Bye-bye.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Goodbye.